we may have discounted our dream, but God has a GPS on our purpose. Whenever God has something for you that's higher than what you're currently operating at, he'll tend to take you through a season of transition so that he can break what was comfortable. Because a lot of the things that you've been praying for is going to allow you to go to a new place. As we look back in the book of Genesis, when God told Abraham to leave his father's household and his homeland to a land he will show him, it required Abraham to get uncomfortable. It required Abraham to leave a land that was familiar into a place that he didn't have the destination for. Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome to this video, and overall, welcome to my channel. My name is Curtis Harbin. I'm a husband, I'm a father, I'm a faith-driven entrepreneur. I really decided to start this channel really to spread light, spread inspiration, spread the keys that's really helped me grow as a man, grow as a father, a husband, and really allowing me to create success in my life. I really find value in helping other people excel as well. Kind of a little bit about my background and my story is that I've been an entrepreneur for the past 10 years. And so through my 10 years, I've been able to experience a ton of things, right? A ton of trials and tribulations that's really molded me and shaped me into who I am today. Fast forward, guys, along my journey, I've been able to, take a lot of those experiences and shape them into messages and shape them into feedback that's helping other people really excel in their life. Most importantly, as I look back, one of the biggest things I realize is that as you go from season to season and change to change, you go through a series of transitions. Really what this video is going to be about today is really talking about transition, right? And really seeing what that looks like in your life as God continues to call you to higher things and to better things, and as you continue to elevate your life. Guys, if this is your very first time to this channel, maybe you got my invite, right? As I told you guys, I'm starting to start my YouTube channel, really locking into the YouTube space. Really my channel is going to be about those things, everything around inspiration, motivation, a lot of faith-driven content, principles around really just being a successful human being, whatever that may look like, being a father, being a husband, and overall, most importantly, being a child of God. I'm excited to really share with you guys a lot of the things that's been able to learn from, that's been able to shape me, and most importantly, shape the people that I've been blessed enough to influence. So as I look back, along my journey and my process, I realized that whenever God wants to take you to a new place, he tends to take you through a season of transition. What I want to come to talk to you guys today is about, 3 key points when it comes to transition and really how to navigate the transition in a way that's obedient to where God's calling you to, and also in a way in which that you don't take control of everything and really just find yourself spinning your wheels, figuring out why things are not working out, and you continue to instead take steps forward, you actually see yourself running in figure eights. And that was kind of my journey. So when we talk about the subject of transition, the very first thing to really understand before we dive into the 3 things is that God created everything with the intention of motion. So when you look at every living thing on this earth, nothing was meant to stay the same. Nothing was meant to stay in the place in which it started from, because God overall gave an end destination for what it's to become. And so a lot of times, as we move into seasons of transition, we forget the fact that God didn't create us to stay the same. We're meant, and he called us to grow and to elevate into the next phase of life that he called us to. And so a lot of times, we find ourselves being frustrated. We find ourselves feeling like God's punishing us, or feeling like we're going to a dark place, or feeling like we're buried in a place where God has actually planted us, feeling like it's dark when God has actually planted us to become the light. So really understanding that foundational principle is really going to help you to understand and get awareness of where you are, and to understand next what you need to do to become the person that you need to become. And so the very first thing when it comes to being in the season of transition is that understanding that transition is the disruption of your comfort zone. So how many times have we found ourselves being comfortable? How many times have we found ourselves just being complacent with the status quo, being complacent with the gifts and the calling that God has on our life? So one thing I say all the time is that we may have discounted our dream, but God has a GPS on our purpose. Whenever God has something for you that's higher than what you're currently operating at, he'll tend to take you through a season of transition so that he can break what was comfortable. Because a lot of the things that you've been praying for is going to allow you to go to a new place, right? As we look back in the book of Genesis, when God told Abraham to leave his father's household and his homeland to a land he will show him, it required Abraham to get uncomfortable. It required Abraham to leave a land that was familiar into a place that he didn't have the destination for, onto a path on a road that he didn't have the roadmap to. And see, a lot of times that's how we look, because in order for God to do something new, he has to disrupt something normal. But one thing to really understand and hone in on is that the gift and the place and the promise that God has for you, it's not attached to your comfort zone. Your comfort can't go with you. And so the sooner that you understand that, that's when things really start to elevate in your life. A lot of times in my life, it's been jobs. It may be a relationship. It may be, habits or whatever the case is that you've gotten so locked in on and so comfortable with. And, in order for God to actually deliver on the prayers that you've been praying for, he has to carve away some of the things that could be baggage, right? Some of the things that could be weighing you down and that could hold you back once you arrive. So again, number one is really understanding that transition is just a disruption of your comfort zone. And so as long as you can be comfortable with being uncomfortable, then it's going to better equip you for the journey, right? And for the place that God's calling you to. Number two is understanding that when you're in a season of transition, God doesn't call you to have all the answers. He calls you to have obedience. God doesn't call the equipped. He equips the ones that are called. As long as you're just willing to move in obedience, you won't have all the answers. You won't know what it's going to look like. And so many times we find ourselves running in figure eights and bumping our head against the wall because we're trying to take control of everything. Right? Like, how many times have you tried to take control of the situations? Have you tried to grind your way to the next level, grind your way to make something happen, just to find yourself running out of energy? That was me so many times, in the space of entrepreneurship, building businesses. Found myself really in the grind culture, right? Really in the make it happen, wake up early, go to sleep late, I'll sleep when I die type of mentality. And, God brought me to the realization that, you can continue to try to make this happen on your own, but you're eventually going to run out of breath. You can continue to try to make this happen on your own, but remember, whatever you get by yourself, you're going to have to sustain by yourself. One of the biggest tricks of the enemy is if he can't get in front of you and stop you, he'll get behind you and push you. So many times I found myself running into brick walls I was never supposed to run in. I found myself going into emotional places that God had never intended to call me to. Because again, our fleshly desire calls us to want to make things happen on our own. So, and as you're going through a season of transition, this is the reminder that it's okay to not have all the answers. It's okay to not have things figured out. But as long as you got obedience, as long as you locked into where God's calling you to, as long as you really listen to the signals of your heart and listen to the signs of the Holy Spirit, then you're going to move in the right direction. But we don't have the oversight. We don't have the GPS view of where God's calling us to. And so the season of transition is really built to equip you. It's built to carve you and to mold you, right? And to train you and get you ready for the next thing that God has for you. And number three is just understanding that transition equals change. When things start moving in your life and disruption happens, it only means that something is growing. It only means that things are shifting and situations and circumstances are aligning. So God can bring those things into your life. And see, a lot of times what we associate change with is loss. And that's the reason why transition can be so scary, because you feel like you're losing something. But I just want to remind you that you're not losing nothing. You're gaining everything. When that transition happens and change happens, again, it's really it's really just training camp and an opportunity for God to strip and to refine the things off of you so that you can actually sustain the things that he has for you. As things start to change, understand that it's okay. And understand that as you go through seasons of change, it's only an opportunity to position yourself in new positions. It's an opportunity to meet new people. It's an opportunity to meet new skills, whatever the case may be. Again, it's really just a training camp, and it's really just a training opportunity to equip you with everything that you needed so that you can get to that next level. Guys, overall, understand that transition is all a part of life. Anything that's moving, anything that's living and breathing on earth, God has created it with the intention of movement, right? So, everything from water, from the currents in the water, everything from the trees that we see every day and breathe from, seeds being planted in the ground, right? There's a nurturing process for each and every one of those living things. And so when God created that thing, he never created it to stay in seed form. As you go through your process and as you go through your seasons of growth, understand that everything that you go through and everything that you grow through, it's only a nurturing phase, because God has an ending for you. God has an ultimate destination, right? That's going to ultimately give him glory, because at the end of the day, when you do get there and when you do arrive, you're not going to be able to take credit for it. So guys, I just really want to remind you that if you're in a season of transition right now, it only means that you're moving in the right direction. Keep moving in that direction. Focus on getting comfortable, being uncomfortable, and watch things unfold in your life. So with that being said, if you found value from this video, definitely like, definitely subscribe. I'm going to be dropping a new video every single Sunday. And really my intention is to help you guys grow. My intention is to help you become everything that God has intended you to become, and using this channel as a source of fuel, using this channel as a source of the tools that you need so that you can carve and you can refine yourself to ultimately become the best man or woman that you can possibly be. So again, guys, I hope you found value. Like, subscribe, and see you in next week's video.